trying to act frozen and you didn't even fall for it. Welcome, everybody, to another episode of Thanks for Nothing.
For nothing. Nothing for thanks.
Nothing for thanks. I can't get it yet.
Nothing for thanks.
Nothing for, it's backwards day.
Because you're going to be saying backwards things today. So I just might as well join in with you. And now that I said that, you're just going to do it. So it's okay.
It's backwards day today, everybody. You are watching another episode of Nothing for Thanks. I am one of your hosts, Elise Shari, and the beautiful
Diana Denise.
Diana Denise, Diana. Welcome, everybody. Introduce yourself. I cut you off.
Hello. We're back.
Hey, Robert.
And it's always at this part of the show that Sherry's going, God, I wish Rich were here right now.
I don't, because I get a little variety in my life. I get a little bit of variety. If you are watching live with us today, say hello. Let us know what you're celebrating today in this moment. Anything. Share it with us. We can't wait to hear about it. If you're joining us from Facebook in the group, be sure that you hit the StreamYard link. Otherwise, you show up as a Facebook user. And yes, I know sometimes I click it too and it doesn't work, but do your best. Welcome, LinkedIn viewers, YouTube, everybody from our global viewers from around the world.
Your biggest fan is here, right? You can't see him. I'm trying to get him to pop up to see him.
Oh, I'm going to go like this, and then we're going to there. Well, there we go. So welcome, everyone.
Here he comes. The Zeke.
There she is. Hi, buddy.
Yes.
Hey, bud. Hi, handsome boy. Okay, this is not.
I got a kiss. I got a kiss, and I got a kiss. Oh, there's proof.
There's proof. Oh, such love.
I got.
Well. Okay, so if you let us know where you are zooming. See, now I'm saying Zoom. Let us know where you are streaming in from, where you're watching from.
We don't know what we're doing. We never do. Hey, Robert, how are you? I see he's here. Hello.
I did. I posted. I try to pretend that we know what we're doing here, because if we pretend that we know, then everyone believes.
It's dress rehearsal for someday.
Listen, every moment from what I've been told is improvisational. Hi, Zeke. Oh,
he's just going to hang out with us today.
Yes, Zeke has come in to distract me, to share some love. So today we're going to be talking about not the creation of joy, which I put on the image, by the way, everyone, and that would be an interesting conversation, but it's actually the joy of creation. I was just waiting for some input there, because you usually do.
Rah. Rah.
Rah, rah. All right. So be sure. I know this is going to be a challenging question to ask you, since this is an interesting show already. But hey, make someone laugh today. Smile, inspire them. Hit the share button below this and share with your peeps.
You got a joke for us?
I invited you. Shut up, Bump.
In our messenger thread, Rich and I are providing nonstop material for Sherry's next stand-up.
We are, which is November 17th.
What's on the little sticky note?
What'd you say?
What you put word on this little sticky note?
Oh, on the sticky note says, how am I allowed to get out of the house, or how am I allowed to guide other people or be an adult?
There should be some kind of rule. Like, what are
how do they allow them out of the house?
I know, right? I'm not alone guiding others. Oh my goodness.
You know how parents, they put the the leashes on their children? Some do. That's what we need. The rope is back in.
You ready for it to go for a ride, are you?
That's what's going to happen. Yeah, exactly. Oh, I see some more people joining us. Let us know where you are tuning in from today. Again, you are watching Thanks for Nothing. We're going to be talking today about the joy of creation. And this is a special topic. Well, every topic is special, but I find this intriguing because I have, over the last few months, really have become not more aware, but have aligned. Let's just say more in alignment.
Well, awareness does bring alignment. It really does.
Okay. Yeah. I'm just thinking, because when I think of awareness, sometimes I guess it does bring alignment. I was thinking like that it's just even, but I just feel more grounded and centered with it. So it feels like another step.
Well, if you think about awareness, brings you to the point of choice. to continue
Right, but
on
not
as you
everybody
are.
makes that choice because
Yeah.
you can have awareness and still not make those choices.
But not making a choice is making a choice. It's that fun little thing, right?
Yeah. Okay.
It
Yeah.
is. It is. Yeah. So awareness brings you to the place of choice. Continue as you are, or do something
Right.
different. And I think that's the biggest thing of the joy of the creation of. Wait, which one is it again?
The joy of creation.
Joy of creation.
Here, I'm going to do this. This is going to help us. I actually wrote it. So.
We need little prompts because we have no idea what we're talking about.
I thought I did.
The fun thing about the joy of creation is that there's no big, small, good or bad, right or wrong. It just becomes something different. It's just different. And when something is different, it's neutralized. And when something is neutralized, it's easy to jump off and do something new. You know, I think that the reason why people get stuck in their head is they haven't been taught how to have endings.
Meaning the way that they approach endings, like how they deal with endings.
Yeah, I mean,
How they navigate through endings.
Yeah, so you know, if you're in a class and the class is over and you leave, right? There's an actual ending that says you're no longer in the class, go do something else, right?
Mm-hmm.
And they're implied, but for other choices of that, it's like it almost seems like people need permission to pick something different. And when you sit in awareness and when you really become the observer of what's going on, and you, because unless there's an actual choice, like turn right, turn left, like you have to in that moment, most of the time there's at least a 20-second lag, if you will, right? That you can kind of just step back and take that bigger picture look. And the thing that I found is that and can I share something?
Yeah. Nope.
Okay. So we decided back in the middle of September that October of this year was going to be the last year that we were doing in-person personal training, mm-hmm. which there's a big difference of shutting something down because it's your choice and shutting something down because it's no longer working. Right. Mm-hmm. So this is a joy of creation. Could we have continued on? Absolutely. Right. I was doing it for over 11 years, and 10 of those years, like I still have the same clients coming mm-hmm. all this time. So the thing that you think about is, well, if I shut this down, then that money shuts down. And what I've learned in my awareness and observation is when I'm the one shutting something down, when I'm learning how to do an ending to something, I just shut down the activity. I didn't shut down the abundance. So that abundance that would be for that activity still is going to come in November. It's just going to show up differently. So it's different. So when I'm shutting, and that's what awareness does, that if you believe if I shut this down, I'm going to lose that, then you're absolutely right. But we shut it down. But I only shut down the actual going into the gym and training people. I didn't shut down the money coming in.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's the joy of creation. Once you start to have that bigger awareness and realize that there is no cause and effect the way that you think it is, that you get to write the story and the story has to honor you, because why would I shut something down and want to lose something?
Wouldn't you say that's the same in relationships too? In terms of, I know that it takes time, say, so if a relationship ends not for your choosing, but just the fact, or because people often see that as the end. And I just heard when you were talking about the abundance doesn't have to stop, like just because you're moving on to another relationship.
Right.
Doesn't mean your happiness or anything.
And here's the really cool thing about the money that represented. I don't know how in November it's going to show up, but I'm open to all different ways. And for those who would pay at the beginning of the month, the money already showed up. Mm-hmm. And right. Sometimes it comes in ways that you already have set up and open. And mm-hmm. other times it introduces itself as something new. So when you realize that in the things that you're creating always have to do with your relationship with yourself, just because I stop something doesn't mean I stop all of it that is associated with that. But as I'm telling my new story, and just like we gave our clients 6 weeks to transition out, right? We helped them, those who wanted to continue on, we helped them find trainers. We're still going to be in touch with them during their transition time to make sure that those trainers work for them, right? And this is when this isn't just something that I do to get money. And that's what I think is the big thing when we talk about joy and creation and manifestation. If all you're doing is this thing to get money, then when you stop doing that thing, then the money will stop.
And that's the attachment to the effect.
Yeah.
Like, I'm going to do this and I'm going to get that. And that's where I was coming from when I was like thinking about this and that's why there wasn't joy in the in between. It was just when that thing manifested physically, it was like joy. And then I was like, oh, now I gotta make another thing, joy. And then I gotta make, like time to make the donuts. Do you remember that commercial?
Yeah. So here's what I would say to people. If you took October and added up how much money came into you, right? Whether it was a job, a business, all miscellaneous. If people, like when we had our last day, some of our clients were giving us gifts. So unexpected money comes in that way, right? So it's a wonderful thing that it was like, oh, this is beautiful. But if you took all of your money coming in for the month of October, and let's just say, we'll say $5,000. And let's say some of those things where it was a one-off, like you don't expect that to come in every month. If you are joyful about the creation of receiving at least the minimum of $5,000 each month, and you don't care how it comes in, there's where the joy is, that it takes away, where is it going to come from? And that's what awareness has done for me. It's allowed me to come out of the story and say, all right, well, I don't want this part of the story to continue, but I do want that part of it to continue. And I bring that over. And yeah, it could come in this way, this way, this way, this way, but I'm open.
And it's just enjoying doing the things that you love all the time. Like that's what like being in the fun mode. Yeah. I was listening recently to an Abraham Hicks, and they were just talking about like being in the fun. When you're in the fun mode, you automatically allow more, you create more.
Yes.
You receive more, you're instead of being problem oriented, you find the solutions, like you're just completely open. And that's what I've noticed over the last few months for myself.
Yeah. And the thing that I've noticed is when people are starting to transform, they like to go and transform until the fear shows up, right? Which is just transformation energy. It's just transformation energy. And
say that again for the people in the back.
Fear is just energy. It's transformation energy, right? So like as a personal trainer, I can take you in the gym. I can show you an exercise. I can do it for you as a demonstration. I can stand there and watch you do it, right? Tell you what you should be feeling. And at some point, you're going to feel the burn. You're going to feel the lactic acid starting to burn at the muscle. And most people on their own, right, until they're really learning how to train, they stop when they feel the burn because it's very uncomfortable. Now, when you hire a trainer, the trainer does not let you stop just because you started to feel the burn. We keep you in the burn as long as possible because we know that's where the magic is. You're starting to feel the presence, the sensation of presence within your own fields, within your own body. And we know there's a difference between muscle failure, meaning that you can't lift your arm and move your arm again, because eventually you go from full reps to quarter reps, or half reps to quarter reps, and then you can't. It's funny when you try to, you're like, move, and it's just like, it's not going, right? So you've taken it as far as you can go. Most people stop when they hit 15 reps, and they stop at 15 reps when they probably could go another 10 because maybe they picked too light of a weight, right? So when you are in creation and you're creating a new reality, it's easy until you have to do something that challenges the beliefs and the habits of the old character, because the old character has shown you how far they can take you. They've taken you as far as it can go. You cannot get the results that you want staying in this character. So when the fear comes up, and remember, you've never thought a thought in your life. So when you're open to receive thoughts, they audition for your entertainment. Which one will you ID with? Which one will you identify with? And if you're looking to get out of something, you'll find a thought that gets you out of it. And if you're looking to bungee jump and go in all in, you'll find a thought that, and both will feel to that version of you, the one that doesn't want to move forward will feel like, oh, thank God this came in. This is an aha moment. I can't go any further. And to the other version of you, it'll be like, oh yes, let's do this. Let's do this. And both are absolutely correct.
I always, that is such, whenever you say that or you refer to that about everything being okay, I think for a lot of people, they need to hear that and know that. And it's what you always say and has now stuck in all of our heads, that you can't get it wrong. You could just make it long.
Make it long, right? And the thing is that when the moment comes where you stop making it long and you realize sometimes there's a little bit of anger that comes that you've done that.
Yeah.
Or if you do have a guide or a coach that they let you do that. But sometimes we, as guides, we have to let people face plant to realize that they're playing small. And this is what it is, because all beliefs are habitual thoughts that you've thought over and over again. And most of the time, you're not the originator of the thought, the belief, or the rule that you're following. Rules serve the people who make them, not the people who follow them. And most of the time, people who make them aren't following them, at least on the lower levels of reality.
That's true. I automatically think of parents.
Yeah. Yeah.
That are like, do as I say,
not as I do, right? Do as I say, not as I do.
Yeah, we learned that right. Yeah, right from being a kid. You're like, oh, wait a second, there's rules, but you're not following them.
Yeah. Yeah.
And you're right. And it's for them.
So the joy is knowing that in every single moment that you're brand new, that you've never been here, that if you have a mind that's saying don't move forward, you now have given into a gatekeeper, because there'll always be a reason for you to stay where you are, because that version of you needs you to be there to keep bringing you the loop that you've been on. It's safe.
Yeah, I was just going to say, and that's out of comfort, because you know it. You know exactly what to expect every time.
I mean, think about this. We had conversations where I asked you, like, if you gave up this storyline that you had, who would you be? And I remember you going, I don't even know.
Because I wouldn't have a story to tell.
But how long did that last?
You mean from the time you asked me to the time I dropped it?
Yeah. Well, once you dropped the old story, how long did it take for a new story to pop up?
Oh, it feels like instantly.
Yeah. And which one's more
there
fun?
was that loop there, because I've done that before. And then that fear comes up, like, because I've tried making that shift previously in the past of dropping it. And I've done it for a little bit. And then it's like, no, this is not, because there's something that shows up, a fear. And it's
danger,
like,
danger. You're going to break some rules. You're going to get in trouble. Be a good girl, right?
Like, whatever that is.
Yeah.
I am not as good as you think I am. Just saying. So there.
Oh, but you're better. But go ahead. But you're just different.
It's a different kind. But there is, but then I would drop the story or whatever that thing is, that habit, that belief, and turn towards a new one. And then as soon as I got like just that moment, I would turn back, and then I'd go back around the loop again. And those gatekeepers have shown up again to say, this is where there's more of this or there's more of that. And I'm like, no, I've already been down that road. Thank you. I already know that's a really long loop. And I'm just getting back here.
I'll say to my gate, boring. Well, come on, got something better? Got something better? And when something like that comes up, if my mind is going, don't do this, you'll ruin everything, or don't do this, this is so not who you are, blah, blah, blah. I'm like, prove it to me right now. Prove it to me right now that if I did the thing that you're trying to talk me out of, that would happen.
Yeah.
And there's no proof right here, right now, other than your belief in it. And once you believe in it, then that's what you're going to get. Yeah.
And I've also come to believe that those things, the initial, just like, what's the word? The thing that initially pops up to inspire you or to take action, to do something like towards something, I have now learned to listen to that big voice, because it wouldn't have shown up if it wasn't meant for me to follow, I believe, that path. And I'm not talking about the fear voice. I'm talking about the other one that my inner being that knows.
The only way to prove to you that all the old story is bullshit is to prove to yourself that the old story is bullshit. You have to go into a different story.
Yeah.
Right. And the thing that I find that's quite interesting is that we allow ourselves to dream for something more, and then you fight the mind going, is that possible for me?
Mm-hmm.
Right? Even though
Yeah.
that you're the only one creating in your reality, am I worthy of it? Well, you're breathing, aren't you? I mean, to me, breathing is worthiness. If your subconscious mind didn't want you here, you wouldn't be here, kind of thing. But when it comes down to the joy, joy is who you are. Abundant is who you are. And when you are a self-actualized person, meaning that you stop believing the old storylines because they don't serve you. Because if they did, you would be in the done deal of your dreams. You would be living the life of your dreams. And if you're not living the life of your dreams and there's still this esoteric thing that happens occasionally in your imagination, the thing that you have to understand is joy is imagination, but so is worry. You see, when we think of imagination, we think of daydreaming about the perfect partner or the perfect house or, whatever your done deal is. But the mind that shows up and goes, you're going to get in trouble, don't do it, that's imagination. The mind that shows up and says, stay right where you are, you're perfectly fine, just how you are, tippy toes are fine, that's imagination. Where are you as the main consciousness in the now? Which persona are you going to identify with? Yeah. So when you decide to be joy, it's a decision, but it's your birthright. And because it's your birthright, it's easy to assume. Do you realize it takes a lot of effort for lack to exist? Do you even realize how much effort it takes? There has to be thought after thought after thought that you have to identify with that says, no, 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 that's not you. No, 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 you'll never have that. Where if you stop the thoughts and just sit in the energy, because the energy will never tell you not to do something. It needs your evolution to go to the next level with you. But it loves you enough that if you want to keep looping around and be exactly where you are 3 months from now, 6 months from now, from a year from now.
When you just said that it takes a lot of effort to feel lack, like immediately, you know how you told us to start identifying, to look around the room slowly and start identifying, like there is so much abundance around us, like that to actually point out what you don't have, even just physically, it takes so much more work and energy. Like that's like, there's abundance all around us.
Yeah.
And it's like what we're choosing to focus on. Yeah. And I was thinking about something recently, about how, because people are like, well, say somebody is, I don't know if it's hurt or heartbroken or they lost something or they're disappointed. And, well, I just can't get that out of my head, or I can't stop thinking about it, or they're trying. And isn't it as, it's just turning your focus to something else?
Yeah. So what I would suggest is this: if you've had a trying moment where, whether it's a physical gatekeeper shows up, another person saying, hey, or one in your mind, when you go into your done deal, go beyond the benefit just for you, right? If what you're asking for will benefit others, whether they're human, whether they're animals, whether it's a community, it doesn't matter. They need you now to get beyond whatever that was, because whatever you're going to be offering, they don't have right now. And if you always need something bigger than you, the character, as this urgency as to why none of the bullshit that the lower minds are going to offer matter anymore. Because there's a reason why you want more money. Yes, of course, you might want a nicer car or a bigger house. But think about the influence that you will have in the obtaining of it, and how you can invest that in your community, in your family. That kind of joy, that's where the joy is. Because when you start your journey, nobody is going to understand it but you.
That's right.
I mean, look at this thing we have here, right? Could you imagine when Steve was going, okay, let's take this cell phone idea and make it a mini computer that everybody can carry around with them wherever they go. And you can do business on it, and you can watch TV on it and movies. And I'm sure they went, it's a phone, dude. It's a phone. Hello, how are you? It's a phone.
Right.
And it don't even look like a phone anymore.
No.
And look how quickly this technology has advanced. Because once one person has an idea, think about how many people work for his company, and he's not even here anymore, at least on this level.
Right.
Right? So that lets you know that you making a decision. And if you read his story or hear about his story, there were a lot of gatekeepers that showed up. There were a lot of things within his own mind, even after he had that company running so amazingly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why are you holding yourself back from greatness when the joy of you achieving and realizing something different, that's all it is?
Do you know what has made it easier to take, I'm just going to use the word risks for people. I'm just going to say that what has made it easier for me, and I'm going to go back to the joy of creation, has been all of the fun that I have been allowing myself to have, that when I take what people call a risk, I don't feel like if that doesn't go well or the way that I want, that I'm going to have a loss, because I have this amazing, fun, joyful life all outside of that. So it's like, hey, let's try this. Let's do this. Let's do that. Because I haven't just only made joy possible or feel joy when I achieve that thing.
Yeah.
It has changed everything.
I mean, and for me, something really, really simple, like push-ups.
Mm-hmm.
If I could tell you how many times I nose planted on the mat, it's a wonder my nose didn't get broken, right? And it was because I knew one day that I was going to get the joy of doing push-ups and doing lots of them and feeling my strength. And the moment that I stopped thinking when I was doing it and I just went into the motion is when everything changed, right? Just like with when you talk about risks, risks are only risks to the jump off character.
Yeah.
You're still if you're still thinking risks, you're still thinking as the jump off character.
Yeah.
Because the version that it's done,
it's just, you're just doing. Like it's just
another day.
It's another day. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's why I said risk, because I was for people that may be watching that see that. Yeah.
So let me ask you something. Give me an example in your life that was a risk, but now it's like your everyday thing. Like the first couple times you did it, you're like, oh, and now it's just like, yeah, I got to do the thing.
Well, I would say, honestly, just saying yes to starting a business, a new business. And what I mean by that is, if you would have asked me a few months, well, actually I was asked before I just started my media consulting business, which someone had mentioned that to me before. And I was like, no, like it was an absolute no, because I was already not in the joy of creation of other things.
Another business, right? Yeah.
Yeah. And so it was immediate no. And then once I started allowing myself to enjoy creating, just when that was approached to me again, I was like, yes. And now it's taken off, because first of all, the inception, how I created.
The energy of inception is the energy of outcome. Yep.
Yes.
Yep.
And because I was just in the joy of my life, but that was a risk before. And then like, if I do this thing, then what about all the other things in my life that I want to focus on?
Do you remember what strong you were in when you started your business, your media consultant business? That'll be a question for tomorrow when we do our interview. Yeah. I think it was in month 2.
I think it was right on the verge of one and two.
Yeah.
Because I think that I created in the end of month 1, and then I sat back at the start of like month 2, and then it started. We'll find that. I'll find that out.
Curious about that. But so this joy thing.
Mm-hmm.
If right now, and this is the other thing that I want to talk about, is people are very transactional.
Mm-hmm.
They're waiting for the actual transaction to feel the joy instead of feeling the joy before the transaction. So if you have the joy before the transaction and you stay in the joy, right? So there's this thing, when you start something, when you activate it, you're activating it from the character that doesn't have it.
Mm-hmm.
You don't care about the confirmation. From when we go from confirmation living, that the outside world somehow says this went through, right? We're always looking for material proof of what is real. And when you go into the joy of creation, the activation of the transaction is all that's needed.
Say that again, because that's so powerful. And if you could say it also in another, say it first how you said it, and then maybe another
You want me to say it backwards? Do
it all backwards.
Okay.
Because it is powerful. I know what you're saying, but there might be someone that needs
because that's the story that most people come from. And it's very true in that story that when you initiate something, you wait for the confirmation that you can receive it.
Like buying something.
Yeah. So if you go and you put a transaction through Amazon and you either get a message that says transaction went through, here's your confirmation, or transaction declined. Here, here's why, whatever. When you go from a world that looks from the outside world to say yes to you, because there will be a lot of hit or miss and there will be a lot of disappointment because you're not always going to get the qualifications of the outside world. You are not in your world, because when you are in your reality always says yes to you, right? So when I get a no, it isn't the person telling me no, right? Because if I don't have it set up ahead of time, yes or no, I don't care. But if I start to care because a no comes in, then I'm in the wrong reality. So when we do in the baseline reality, when you make a transaction, somehow, whether it's a verbal yes from someone or a computer sending you an email confirmation or something on a screen, numbers and letters on a screen, you are not numbers and letters on a screen. So when I do an activation, right, when I initiate something and I don't care ahead of time whether it says yes or no, because the activation, the feel that I feel during the activation is already my yes.
Yes.
And if it's something, let's say for some reason I didn't have the money on the level that I'm on, but I know that there are versions of me at the very same time that I'm doing a transaction, they have the money for it. They're also doing it. We're all sitting in the same chair, all sitting and going on the computer doing this transaction. All I'm doing is saying I'm jumping off and I'm jumping into one of them, because I will level up to the reality where they had the transaction went through. I can't tell you how many times I've done this and I've got duplicates of stuff. And I call the company and say, you sent me 2. And the company says to me, we only have records of 1. So you don't have, if you send it back, we're going to refund you. So that kind of defeats the purpose of it. So most of the time they say to me, either use it or give it away.
Yeah.
We don't want it back.
Yeah.
So what that means is at that time, when I did my transaction, I also tapped into a different version of me that was doing it. And both of them came to my reality. There's not just one reality.
Which
How joyous is that? Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
I know.
So when you're activating, and the stronger your activation is, it means like you feel like your heart's going to pop out of your chest. That's what shortens the time.
From the actual manifesting of it, correct?
The actual thing can show up, or your subconscious doesn't, everything is real to the subconscious. So when you make a purchase, even if it's declined, your subconscious believes you need the money to replace that. So when you have a foundation that says, every time I purchase that, the money already comes back to me. I always do 10x. If I make $100 purchase, I'm expecting 1,000 to come in. This is how you build wealth very, very quickly.
Yeah.
And how it comes in is none of my business. It could come in cash. It could come in numbers on the screen that says there's cash. It could come into a gift.
Yeah. But it's in that activation where you're feeling the joy. You're feeling that before you even get
the burn. You're feeling the burn, right?
But I feel like that when we plan a vacation, or when you order, like, or when we've talked about an example of ordering a pizza. I'm just saying, like, we don't wait. I don't know if this is going to be the right example, but we don't wait until the pizza arrives. Like, we're preparing for the pizza. We know the pizza's coming, right?
It's already salivating.
Yeah, we're already salivating. It's like there's already that joy and that feeling. Like, you didn't have to get the pizza to know that it was coming. We didn't have to get the pizza to enjoy. Like, I'm enjoying the pizza before it even arrives.
And not only that, but you don't look at the pizza menu going, all right, so cheese pizza, I'm not worthy of mushrooms today. Yesterday I was worthy of mushrooms, but today I've really screwed things up. I am so unworthy.
I shouldn't even be. Now it's only green peppers.
Right? Or better yet, let me punish myself. Let me put something on the pizza that I absolutely hate and force myself to eat it. You wouldn't do that. That would be ridiculous.
Oh God, put olives on there.
So the thing is with the joy of activation, right? That's where the joy of creation is,
Mm-hmm.
because you're tapping into the version of you that either already has it or is also doing the transaction simultaneously, because you're going into simultaneous time. Everything all at once exists, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right. And if you believe that you are the creator of your reality, you can assume the identity of any of those versions of you that have this thing and expect it to show up.
Right. Like when you plant a seed in the ground.
Yeah, exactly.
It,
So let's say you've always wanted to go to Hawaii,
mm-hmm.
right? So
I
you
wrote
can
that
go,
down here to talk
right,
about Hawaii. Go ahead.
right, look at that.
Okay.
I read minds. So you can go on to whatever website that you order your trips on, right? And you
Mm-hmm.
book the airfare, the whole 9 yards. And it's not enough just to leave it in your shopping cart, because that's what you wouldn't do if you were really ordering this trip. You have to go through all the way to the end, right? So you order this trip, and let's say you don't have the money in your account, so you know it's going to be declined. Or maybe you do, but you don't want to spend that money because it's earmarked for something else. But
Mm-hmm.
there's a great deal, and you can't wait another day, and you have to book it now so you can change your expiration to an old expiration. You expect ahead of time the transaction to decline. It's not about the confirmation, it's about the activation. So now, once you've activated it, you got to do exactly like you would if you got the confirmation, because the time in between the trip and the actual time to go, you're leveling up to the version of you that simultaneously that day was ordering that trip, had the money to pay for it. So all the things you start talking about going, you start blocking off your calendar. That's the acting as if.
Mm-hmm. And there's fun in that.
There is. It's dress rehearsal.
Yeah.
And the weirdest things have happened where all of a sudden you're asked to be a guest speaker in Hawaii, and they're going to cover all your expenses. Like, so it doesn't
Yeah.
even have to be that way. You can level up to the one where you have the tickets and all that kind of stuff, but you're open to all the different ways that this can show up.
Yeah. And that's what I've noticed over these last few months of doing the work with you, is that in all of the activation of doing things, while it may not be that specific thing, there was something related that is showing up and new things are opening up. And I also feel that if I wasn't in the joy of just living, that not only would it maybe not have shown up, but I wouldn't even have been open to it to even see it or receive it or allow it.
So, and let me say this, you're not cheating anybody out of anything. You're not taking something and not paying for it. What you're doing is you're acknowledging on your jump off level that this isn't your reality, but you're acknowledging that there are so many other levels that you exist where this is your done deal truth. Mm-hmm. And by doing your leap of faith jump off, you're saying, I so believe this to be true that between now and then, I'm going to level up to this reality. And it could be this way, but it could show up in many other ways. And I always say in all of my manifestations, everybody is equally taken care of. Never will I do a manifestation that puts anyone else at a detriment or a loss, because then I would be inviting that into my world, and I wouldn't want that done to me.
Right.
So it's always me being the last one to the party of leveling up to the reality where that is what's going on. And I think that's so very important to acknowledge. I'm not trying to cheat a system or to take something from someone. Never.
Yeah.
I'm just having you realize the actuality that that version of you exists. And in between, you get the joy of watching it unfold.
Yes.
Yeah, that's really, really powerful.
Yeah. And I keep coming back to the having to see the physical manifestation of stuff to show up, to actually believe how that it has happened, as opposed to like, and the example that comes again for me is now like pregnancy, right? Like you feel the excitement and the joy during those 9 months, but you haven't actually seen the baby. You're not like holding the baby, but that, that belief that it is coming, that there's the joy in that. And I guess I just keep relating, because that's what now for me, the unfolding of the things that I desire or wish for myself that I already know are coming. Like there's not a question. It's like, how much fun can we have along the way?
Yeah, and at least with that, you have some kind of time frame of when this can show up.
Right.
So when you start using time frames of, you can do it if you do a strong enough activation. There's no reason why it can't be there within 3 days.
Mm-hmm.
And when you do an activation,
baby.
time is a concept. It's not a real thing.
Yes.
That's a whole other story. But when you do an activation, it can show up within 3 days. And the thing is, once you do the activation, like once you order your pizza, you don't feel the need to order the same pizza again. You know, it's
calling
done.
them. Like, is it going to come? Is it going to come? Is it come? When
Yeah, there's a feeling of completion. Even when your activation has a decline on the other end, you're just not in your reality of receiving. So you level up to that reality, because all of this is imagination. Even the reality that you've been in that feels so real, that says you have to pay and get the confirmation that you paid, and then it's sent to you, or however it is that you're doing it. Right. So if, let's say, Shari, you wanted to pay for training for me, and it's $10,000 a month, right, for 3 months. Mm-hmm. And you go and you use one of my links and you activate it and it declines. I'm not going to see that on my end. So there's no need to worry that the other people, there's no police out there that's going, she's activating, send someone to the house. Bad girl, shame, smack you on the wrist.
I just see all these red lights in the house. Activation.
You'll get a text from me too. Are you activating? I mean, I'll be like, yoo-hoo, you're activated. Right. So it's no harm, no foul. Yeah. Because no one knows what you're doing. Because think about how many times you went to order something and it didn't go through. Yeah. Maybe you had the wrong card, whatever. Right. Yeah. I've ordered stuff that did go through, and then it went back to being in my box. So it's like that law of opposites. If the opposite is true, that I know I had the confirmation, I saw the money get charged, I went to the store on the day that it arrived to pick it up and it wasn't there. Yeah. I'm like, ooh, I'm getting more awareness right now. I'm getting more awareness right now.
Oh, yeah. Literally right now?
Well, no, well, yeah.
Okay. I took it the way you meant it the first time. Then you said the second time, I'm like, ooh. Because it was.
See? And you don't know if I'm getting awareness right now or.
Ooh, I'm feeling awareness.
Because everything's right now.
Share it. Share the awareness.
Isn't that what we're doing? Isn't that
But there was something special happening there.
Yeah. So that's the thing. Like in your old story is 100% for that level of reality. Yeah. But that level of reality hasn't given you what you wanted. And when you do get what you want, you're not on the level. Even if it's the pizza reality, when the pizza arrives, you're no longer in the reality that ordered it. Mm-hmm. Because there's no need to order a pizza that already arrived. And that's a really big shift of occupying the reality before the physical thing shows up. Mm-hmm. I put up a post today that says you can't say that you're in your wish fulfilled or you're done deal and you're still waiting for it to arrive. Either you're in it or you're waiting for it to arrive. They're contradicting energies. So you have to move around in the template that you're on as if you're in your done deal. But if you're waiting for it, you're going to be disappointed.
So give a real life example. So if somebody wants to go to Hawaii and they haven't actually been there, how do you live in that you've already, or that you're in?
Oh, well, are we talking about a trip or they want to move there?
Let's talk about a trip, or just give a different example.
Let's say the trip to Hawaii, that you've never been to Hawaii and you look at your bank account right now. And of course, if you're going to manifest a trip to Hawaii, manifest a freaking trip to Hawaii. I remember back when I was getting my kitchen remodeled and we were going to do the small remodel. And I'm like, listen, if we're going to be inconvenienced anyway, we might as well go. I'm always a go big person, right? Yeah. So let's get the kitchen of the dreams, because I'm not doing this again in 10 years. Mm-hmm. Right. It was a very, very big inconvenience of not having a stove and a sink and, at the time, 4 kids. So let's say you want
now she has 12.
What's that? Yeah. 25.
At the time, 4 kids. So
none of them look like me. So I'm doubting if any of them are mine. There's another joke for you right there.
I know.
Okay. So you decide to book this trip to Hawaii and you go on, I don't know, Expedia or wherever, I forget what the name of the places you can go. And you pick a top line hotel with the gorgeous
Ritz-Carlton in Maui
with ocean view, right? You're going to be dropping at least 10 grand.
Yeah.
For 2 people. And that includes first class airfare, one airplane, if all
Oh, yeah, it'll be
possible,
more than
depending how
that.
far out you are, right? So you go and you kick it to the highest version, because if you're going to do this, it works for $600, it works for $6,000, it works for $10,000, it works for $50,000, right? So you go all out, and let's say you do this today, and you know that it's going to get declined on your card. You might not even have the limit. That's okay, because you expect the decline ahead of time. That's part of the joy. It's not a shock. It's not a right. So you do this, and the whole time it feels like your heart's going to jump out. I can't believe I'm doing this. And you do it, and it's declined. Okay. And let's say you booked it for, get my trusty calendar out here so that for the
while she's doing that, let us know in the comments, whether you're watching live or replay, what it is that you want to manifest. What is it that you're going to create in joy?
Okay, so let's say you decide you're leaving on Christmas Eve, December 24th, Saturday to Saturday. Well, actually, you're probably going to come back in January, because you want to, if you're going to be in Hawaii at that time of year, you might as well be there for New Year's. What a great way to start off a whole new year. So now we're at the beginning of November in this reality. So you would block off that calendar, right? You know what time your planes are going. You're going to start thinking, who's going to get me to the airport? Am I going to leave my car there? Right? Because obviously you booked a trip to take someone with you. And then what's the next thing we as women start thinking about? Even
Shopping.
if it's,
what am I going to wear?
What am I going to wear? Right? Especially if you live in an environment where you've put all your summer clothes away because it's cold, it's wintertime.
Yeah.
Right? So you
need a new sarong.
Right. And then you take a look and you go, I got 8 weeks, got to hit the gym.
Right.
Got to just start doing some cardio.
Yeah.
Really want to be rock. Do I need what a better reason to get a new bikini or bathing suit?
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Yeah. And then you start making your list. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this. Right. And I mean business. So what I do is I get my suitcase out that day.
Oh, you're an early packer.
I'm normally not, but I want myself to mind that I'm serious about this. This is real to me. Right. And I'm going to pack the things that I can already pack.
And you're going to have some gatekeepers show up that are going to be like, what are you doing?
Oh, my gatekeepers are like, she's at it again.
Well, no, yours. I know. I didn't mean you, Will. I know.
Well, so the thing, then I got to think about, okay, who's going to watch the pups and the cats? Right. So I'm going to start early, that if I'm going to need someone to be here for a whole week, let them know now so that they can tell me yes or no. And I have a list that I can go down of who that could be. Right. So if I have family staying here, I don't have to stop my mail. Like, you go through the process, and then you start sharing with people like you would had you got the confirmation, because you're going into the version of you that did get the confirmation at her level, and you're speaking like her. You're assuming the identity of the version of you that had the transaction go through. And the more you stay in this feel and excitement, that trip will show up, whether it's the actual one you booked or some type of circumstance will show up and will take a need to you. You don't have to go. You've already done. It's already complete. You don't have to go order the same trip 5 times. Just like when you order your pizza, you know it's done.
You have to stay in that belief. You have to stay in that belief.
You have to the whole time.
Right. Because
Yeah. And if someone comes up to you and says, how did you pay for that? It's none of their freaking business.
But are you actually following through, like calling people to come and watch your pads? Like, hey, I'm going to be gone during these.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Because I know that I'm going to be there. And whether it's
right, it is that
whether I level up to the one way that I did it and it's a direct hit, or something will come and somebody will say, I need you in. You like you did. You're like, Denise, I need you to come speak in Sedona. Just I don't care what you talk about. You don't even have to tell me ahead of time. Just show up. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, that works. That works. And that was always on my list. Like that was one of the first things. Like that was my Super Bowl, speaking in Sedona. Yeah. So I
didn't tell you this because I didn't know if it's the same thing. So when we had our private conversation, and I was going to order my jacket. Do you remember?
The 3 of them, I remember.
Yeah. So I just went and ordered one of them that I like really decided on. And anyway, it came yesterday, but it showed up in a different way. So I ended up going to the store with John, and he ended up getting it.
That
and so
counts.
now I have it.
Yeah. Yeah.
And so I don't know if it's like the exact thing, except for the fact that I knew that I was getting the jacket and now I have it. And
how you get it, it's none of your business.
Right.
I always give myself a range, right? It could show up the way that I just ordered it, right? Somebody could ask me to come speak.
Yeah.
Or there's a family reunion and think of all the different reasons why people are offered trips.
Yeah. Yeah. It could show up in any way.
I could enter a contest that I don't even know exists yet because it's being created for me to get this trip. So once you activate, your subconscious mind starts to offer so many different ways, and it's which one will you as the current character be able to see and acknowledge, because it is now your servant instead of you being its servant. It's now your servant, and it's serving you because you were very specific where you want it to be. So let's say you get a trip, but it's just a regular room. Well, you know what you ordered. So you didn't order a regular room. So somehow you're going to get upgraded. And then you get to the hotel and they're like, we're doing work on your floor. We can't give you that room. We're going to upgrade you to the ocean view. Please accept our apology. Like, yeah.
The ocean.
I know.
What did I do in my previous life to deserve this?
And again, no one is getting cheated out, because there's always balance when you're manifesting from your heart. Yes, you're getting the benefit from it, but think about even when you manifest a trip, all the people who have jobs and because you're traveling, they're able to have a job. If people stop traveling, they don't have a job. Think of all the people that are there that you're going to meet up with and meet on the trip, and you're going to make their lives better because of the interactions, Yeah.
There seems to be it's interesting because there seems to be a judgment sometimes of what people have or how they choose to do it. And then I know you've mentioned this previously, like when you have that, then how do you expect to receive that yourself when you are,
if you're pointing the finger at people that you've been told are rich, now you don't know, you haven't seen their bank account. For all you know, they're actors on a screen. Yeah. But if you're looking at people who you believe have money and they're doing it a certain way and they're doing it their way, and you're pointing your finger, hollering at them, that is the quickest way to keep your abundance, because your subconscious goes, oh, she or he doesn't want to be like that. So we're not going to allow them to have that kind of money because they feel that way about them. And we won't want them to feel that way about themselves.
Yeah, that's powerful. Yeah. Because I know a lot of people that will judge it like, oh, they have all this money and they spent it on a handbag, or they have all this money and they spent it here.
They're none of your business. Use your imagination to create your own wealth. However, it makes your heart sing. And honestly, if you can't accept an inheritance or Powerball, I'll give you my name and address. I have no problem.
Yeah.
Because I always challenge my mind. What are the craziest ways that this can happen? Like, you know what I mean? I mean, I like the basic ways. If that's all I'm open to receive, I'll take it the basic way. But what other way can it come?
I'll be at your door like, hi, I heard you won the Powerball and you don't want it. Thank you.
Give to me. I'll take it off your hand.
So let's wrap up with, about the joy. Have
fun doing this. No.
What'd you say?
Have fun doing this already. No. It's supposed to be fun.
Well, it feels like we're kind of programmed, not we, but people can be programmed that they have to, like, that there has to be sacrifice and struggle.
On that level, that's absolutely right. Yes. There is a level of sacrifice and struggle, and please enjoy it. If you're sacrificing and struggling, then enjoy the sacrifice and struggle. But that's not the only way.
Yeah.
It may be the way that you've been taught to believe is the only way.
Yeah.
But I'm an example that it's not, but there's tons of other examples. But if you're hollering at all those people and making them seem like they're doing something wrong or they're not being honest, you're screwing yourself over.
Yeah, or even for yourself. Like people who work so hard and are like, in burnout mode or whatever that is, because that's their belief that in order to succeed, like, I remember somebody telling me previously that in order to succeed, you have to work all the time, 7 days a week. When you're an entrepreneur, this is how you show up, and this is how, and I was like, okay. And then I was miserable.
People in my life work their butts off and they barely make ends meet. So it's not about hard work. Right. It's about what story that you believe for yourself. Because if you believe hard work and story will get other people, but not you, then you're going to work yourself to the bone and not have those benefits and be really, really frustrated, right?
I've had more success being in the joy of creation, which doesn't seem like nearly the amount of work that I was doing before.
And I remember saying to myself, how do I tell America's joy magnet that she's not being very joyful?
Well, it's interesting because, and this has come to me a lot. And yes, and I have said it, like, because we are joy, right? Like that is who we are. And what I have seen that people have always seen, they're like, you don't just talk about joy, you are joy. And I think that what people have always seen and what it has been when I am aligned with it, like truly aligned. And so it's always, you know how you say, like, they have seen your done deal, or they have, you know, and those are the levels, those, and I have too. And then it was always like, but you can't be there because you have to take this and you got to struggle and you got to sacrifice and you got to be stressed until, and now I'm like, oh no, you mean I can live in this state all the time?
And just think about the conversations we had about starting this little thing on Wednesday. And I'm like, we can just show up and do nothing and have fun. And you're like, but don't we need to prepare for that? Like, no.
Well,
if it's not fun, I don't want to do it.
Yeah.
If it's not fun, I'm not going to do it. The moment something becomes a job to me, I step back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes.
Because my life is calm. It's fun. So if I'm adding something to it, it needs to enhance the calm and fun and joy, not make it chaos, not make it crazy, not make it, I got to do this thing. Yeah. That just doesn't.
So what is your invitation for our viewers for their own lives, besides to work with you? But I mean, like, in the creation joy.
That if you're not having fun, you're doing it. I don't want to say wrong.
Long.
You're if ever, if you're not having fun, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
Why are you doing it? I've never done anything to make money to pay bills. I'm not a freaking battery.
And if you have a belief that that is how you have to do it, that's what you have to re-examine.
And I expect the full amount from stopping the gym. I expect the full amount to come in, and I'm going to just be blown away of how it shows up. And it may show up differently in November, and it may show up again, but the minimum, like I have a minimum that I expect to come in every month, and I don't care how it should. Pennies, I don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I expect that I will be at the Comedy Store in December, and that I will be having a Netflix comedy special.
Very soon, 2023.
Oh, yes.
Because we're giving
and you know,
we'll be in the audience going, she's talking about us again.
And it's just because I'm having so much fun, so much joy being in the creation of it. And so what can you create? What can you do every day to just live in the creation and live in the joy? That's what we're asking. Yeah. So tell everybody how they can connect with you.
You can go to theinvincibleceo.com. You can join me here on Facebook, the Invincible CEO Circle. It's a private group. We also have a new 2-day event coming up December 1st and 2nd. I highly recommend that you be there.
I'll put my link in there.
Yes, put your link in.
Yes, you can sign up for it.
Yeah, and you can even reach out to me on Messenger under my name. That's fine too.
Yeah, awesome. Let us know what you are going to be activating today. Enjoy. So we can hold that energy for you. And don't forget to follow me on TikTok at The Joy Magnet. And come out if you're in the LA area on November 17th to see me at the Federal doing stand-up.
Doing the thing, because that's how we do.
That's how we do.
And by the way, thanks for nothing.
Thanks for nothing.
Thank
you for nothing. Bye, everybody. We'll see you next week.